y'all. Insomnia is a bitch. But on the plus side, you get more video out of me. Looks like this is going to be a 4-part series about the ultimate budget pedal board build. Although only the board itself is budget. Which is an interesting point. I think I'm going to do another series where not only will the board be budget, but so will the pedals. I've bought a few pedals as of late. You'll laugh. I'll put a picture up. I bought a few pedals lately. In any case, it's going to be a 4-part Doom metal board build. Why can't I think? Oh yeah, because it's 2 in the morning. So, hopefully that's something you're going to be interested in. Speaking of things you might be interested in, I made a fun little score at my local pawn shop yesterday. I thought I'd share with you. It's right here on the workbench, and I just cut the strings off. See this lovely little Squire Telecaster? It's actually one of the decent ones, the crafted in Indonesia, which are supposed to be quite a bit better than the Chinese iterations, and indeed the neck does feel great. This guy fell off the wall at the pawn shop, scored some pretty gnarly finish damage. Is that, especially this. This is pretty gnarly, right? Doesn't do a thing about the playability or the sound. Just, you know, it's cosmetic. And I think I'm going to go over it with some sandpaper to smooth it out. But $65. Yeah. All day long. Every day. No problem. So, let me get that out the way. So the title of this installment is Changes. And that because you'll find when you're putting together a board that, well, even after you've got everything you want on there, there's a good chance it's not going to stay static, that things will get swapped out over time as your needs change and as you realize certain things. In my case, I'm already there and I, you know, haven't even got the thing plugged in yet. So here is the board in its current incarnation. And a couple of things you're going to notice right offhand. Well, for one thing, that big ass Line 6 DL4 delay pedal's gone. And another thing, if you look at the bottom, we now have a pair of MXR power bricks of different kinds. And for some reason I've mounted one of them right side up and one upside down. Not that it much matters because you don't notice when it's, you know, like this anyway. But I'm going to show you what I've done here, tell you the things that I've decided to change from my original plan already, and a couple of things that, having tested this out a little bit, I realize I still need to change. And so yeah, let me mount the camera in the overhead cradle and we'll continue. All right, so we're back. Here's our handy overhead view of the board as is. Very first thing you might notice is that I had mentioned in the last video that I was ordering this Sonic Cake Wave Crush Bit Crusher to put first in line on the board. And I hooked it up, and it definitely does some extremely cool things, and I will be using it in the future for some recording, no doubt, because it does literally 4 different completely separate effects that are just really cool. But it's not very practical for a live board, it turns out. What is very practical is the matching Sonic Cake octave pedal that I ordered at the same time, that I'm using for 1 octave down. It also does 2 octaves down, although I haven't used it in this application. I find that this and the Rat together with the octave down make for enormous crushing riffs. It sounds incredible. So first in line now is this octaver. Next up is Dynacomp. This is going to be basically an always-on pedal. I find that it adds tons of definition and makes the notes rise up and above the din of all the various noise and cacophony, as I mentioned before. So that's going to be always on. Phase 90 for its obvious effect. I will largely use that for solos. Now onto the blue boxes. I have to admit that I'm having a bit of, I'm not going to say buyer's remorse, but let's just say that I'm not as happy with these as I could have been. Even maxed out, these things have a drop in volume when you turn them on versus your straight sound. And shy of doing an update where you get inside and actually change some components, there's nothing you can do about it. And then if you do that, it changes the fundamental sound of the pedal. So I'm going to keep this one that's set for its, the standard fuzz plus 2 octaves down sound. But I'm going to get rid of the second one and replace it with a new fuzz pedal that I've ordered. It hasn't arrived yet. When it does, I'll tell you more. But it's an extremely versatile and very affordable fuzz that from, I believe it's M-Wave is the company. It'll do Big Muff, Super Fuzz, and a third mode of fuzz that's just labeled M, that from the YouTube videos I've watched sounds amazing. So anyway, there's that. This prime distortion is staying. This thing has gotten a lot of hate online, but I'm finding for my purposes, especially playing my Ibanez baritone, this is a great distortion pedal. I'm really enjoying it. Then onward to our Rat. Rat's basically a mainstay of every good Doom pedal board, so it's going nowhere. Unlike the blue boxes that have been a bit of a disappointment, I'm still totally enraptured with my MXR micro flangers. One set to flange and one set to all the way down with both knobs, which gives you a really great chorusing sound. The flange sound on this one in particular, with this setting more or less, really makes notes jump out of a mix. It's just great. Now, I'd mentioned that I was doing away, or had done away, with the big Line 6 delay. And it's replaced with this section here. And I have to tell you, it was a good choice because I don't use delay that much. Never have. I like to have some available when I need it. But that thing was way beyond what I needed. It does so much that I'd never use. It's just wasteful. Plus, it's a huge pedal, weighs a ton, it's very tall. What I found instead is this Levitate pedal from Sonic Cake. This thing is really cool in that you have a very useful delay over here. Just a couple of controls here. You've got your wet and dry mix knobs, which is really cool to have both. So you can get exactly the amount of effects you want and the amount of dry you want. This side is your delay that has feedback in time, just pretty obvious delay. This side is a reverb. Now, of course, I don't use a lot of reverb, but when I need reverb, right? And it's a decent sounding reverb, more than good enough for my purposes. And so you get a reverb button and a delay button. You can use them together or separately. And this is an amazing pedal, and it was, I think, $45. Can't recommend this highly enough. Next up, the MXR micro amp, which is something I really wanted to get on here, and I'm glad that I could. This is at the end of my chain, of course, except for my tuner, so that I can have a nice loud boost for solos or making particular riffs jump out or whatever it is I might need. This is really handy to have. It does its job, does it well. You can get tons of volume out of it if you want to with the gain knob here. And then finally, this Electro Harmonics tuner. I chose this one simply because it fits on the board. And it does the job. It's just fine. Now we'll flip this bad boy over. And as I mentioned before, I have moved to a 2-power brick system. The reason being, I found that daisy chaining even these low current pedals together, I was getting some noise and things that I didn't like. And the fact is, I had this second power brick that I'd forgotten that I found at a pawn shop a while back for $25. It didn't come with the power supply, so it's just been sitting in one of my spare drawers. And $18 on Amazon, I had the power supply to match it. So I've got the DC brick here and this ISO brick. And the only annoying thing is they use opposite connectors. This one uses the female on both ends. This one uses the female on one end and the male on the other. So I had to order some female connector cables, but it's not a problem. Now I have plenty of extra power if I ever add anything else, although with no space on the board, I'm not sure what it would be. Well, that being said, there is one thing. I found that there's a fair amount of noise once you get too many things turned on. No big surprise there. So I ordered this Rowan noise gate. It's a very basic noise gate, but it does the job really nicely. It has hard and soft modes. And I'm actually going to mount this on the bottom down here. Maybe even sideways. Well, I just have to make sure that it clears the board when it's standing up, so it doesn't, obviously doesn't get touched, because there's really no room on the top for it, and it's something I'm going to set and forget. So there's that. But that's basically it, and it's turning out to be every bit as versatile of a board solution as I'd hoped it would be. As you can see, I've got the cables velcroed down with these little cable ties. I bought an obscene quantity of these things off of Temu for pennies. They're wonderful. I've got tons of them. They're so useful. And one thing I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, this is very, very important. For this build, as you can see, everything is held down. Everything besides the cables is held down with these cable ties, okay? These are nylon. And I have to tell you, once you've cut these things, they are murderously sharp. This is no joke. These little ends where I've cut them are like razors. And I've seen people take soldering pins and just kind of lightly melt the ends. That's something I might wind up doing, because I'd hate to be handling this and accidentally hit one of these and cut myself. But just know that if you're going to use cable ties, which is the only way you're really going to be able to use a board like this, for the love of all things holy, be careful when you cut those cable ties. I'm not kidding when I say they are murderously sharp. So anyway, here's where we are at the moment. The only thing that you're seeing right now that's really going to change is this MXR is leaving and being replaced with a multi-fuzz, as I mentioned. And as soon as that comes in, then I'll finally be able to do part 4 when I plug this all in and demonstrate everything for you all. You all, y'all, this is the South after all. Oh, let's just knock the camera, why don't we? I'll be back. Okay, so enough rambling. You've seen the new board. I've gotten some great comments already. The general consensus is that this is an ingenious use of an off-the-shelf product. And I'm loving it. This is the second one of these I've built. The first being my current ray gun board, which I included a picture of before, but just in case you didn't see, I'll include one right here. And tell me, what's your thoughts about having a budget board build when I not only use one of these budget boards, but a bunch of budget pedals? If that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments below, along with anything else you want to mention. Of course, as always. I haven't mentioned to like or subscribe or to click the bell or any of that stuff, because I don't care if you do or not. I really don't. Please do. Let me know. You like that idea? I will give you one spoiler alert. Versus last year's El Cheapo Temu pedal episode, the game has really stepped up. I'm not joking. A lot of those, if I'm honest, all of those pedals that I ordered on the cheaps last year were pretty bad. Even the best of them were pretty weak compared to good name brand stuff. But this new stuff that's coming out, and it's still cheap. Some of these pedals I got for less than $15. All of them less than $35. Some of them are really, really good, and literally give the big names a run for the money. Yeah, I'm looking at a stack of them over here on the desk, and I'm beyond impressed. So just put that out there. So anyway, I'm going to let you be. I've been Steve. You've been you. Stay cool, stay frosty, be good to yourself and others. Head over to Lowe's, who doesn't sponsor me anyway, and buy one of these sweet Ryobi shells. I've made a dozen pedal boards or more in my lifetime. This is the best I've ever had. Better than store-bought, honestly. And I prefer this fastening system to Velcro. So do with that what you will. Until next time, Steve out. Thank you.